I think what attracts me to working outside of a traditional studio is the fact that my process is really invested in trying to figure out how material reacts to a space, how it sits, how it can be propped up, how it can be really maneuvered and rendered in the setting that it oftentimes is a part of, or how it's rendered in a setting that it's not really a part of. So I'm really interested in how materials and process can change over time and can change as it is dependent on the space that I decide to photograph in. I'm very much interested in how physical material can sit in a space, how I as an artist can create form within a space, and I think the best way for me to do that is by actively engaging in that space and really working with the material there. So a lot of the setups and the sculptures that I'm invested in making have to do with how those materials react to how they may sit on the sidewalk, how they may topple over in the wind. It's really about trying to make what you can from the resources around you. I think there's something that I think many artists feel that's very transformative about taking materials and things around them and making them into something different, something new. And I'm really inspired by that. And I think that for me, making something that is visually stimulating, that also gets into the questions that I'm interested in terms of space, marginalization, urban development, I think that this is a great medium for me to do that. From just an art standpoint, I really am interested in the artwork of David Hammonds and his practice. Also, the video artist, photographer Mika Rottenberg. I think she's a great sort of example of someone who works between media, particularly sculpture and video. And outside of art, I'm really sort of interested in sort of social history and its relationship, not just historically, but also in a contemporary sort of framework, particularly the history of people in urban settings. A lot of the work that I've done prior to coming to Woodstock focused on African American communities in Chicago, where I was from, and then also in Philadelphia and parts of Camden. So that sort of research investigation into how urban sites are used, particularly by marginalized communities, have been of importance to my practice. I think for me, it's that sort of in-between space where you have so many ideas that you're bouncing off of and you're in the process of physically making the thing or the form that you're invested in, and that's when you have all of these things jumping off or that are becoming starting points, and you kind of have to make those quick decisions to get to the next step. And I kind of like that indecisiveness and that moment where you're working with so many different things and really trying to make something that can sing, that can have its own life. The most exciting part is when you have so many things going on and you're really trying to like pinpoint that moment where it's just like, okay, this makes sense. I would say one thing about this residency that's really sort of pushed my practice forward is how I use the location. This residency gave me the opportunity to go back to a location more than once, 2, 3, 4 times even, and really spend time there to really sort of identify how the materials that I was using would activate the space. So I think I've definitely gained a sort of confidence and ability in trying to figure out how materials can be made, composed, and constructed on site, rather than something being built in the studio and taken out there, something that could really have time in that space and live and try to figure that sort of problem out.